So good morning. We have a 2009 Toyota Tacoma with 68,000 kilometers on it. It has a noise in it when we start it up cold. Let's hear what it sounds like. I don't want to run it too long because it's going to stop making noise after a couple minutes. So it's really hard to tell, and it's starting to fade away now, but to me the noise seemed loudest on the alternator or the tensioner or the idler bearing just above the alternator. You can't even see it from here. There's the alternator, and just underneath the oil filter there you can see another bearing. There's one also over here. I believe they're both the same part, so I've got both of them. There are steel wheels by the looks of it, so they might be just a 6203. I think it's a 6203 bearing. But I'm going to put it up in the air and see if we can access it better from underneath rather than on top here, because there's not a lot of room here. So I got to do a service on this, so we got to take the skid plate off anyways. Once you get that skid plate off the front here, you can see that there are two idlers. There's a lower idler, an upper idler on the left side, and then there is a idler on the right side. One of them is the tensioner. I'm not sure which one it is. Maybe it's the one by the alternator. Yes, it's the, and then there's a tensioner and the idler above it. So one of those is making noise, and in a second I'm going to have an assistant start the vehicle, and hopefully I can pinpoint which one of the bearings is noisy. It's like a whine. So the noise actually seems loudest from this bearing, which is nice and convenient. I'm going to loosen off the serpentine belt. It's not warm. And spin all these bearings so I can feel if there's any roughness in them. So you need a 14 mil socket and a ratchet to loosen off the belt tensioner. Now we're spinning the upper bearing. It feels smooth. The tensioner bearing feels okay. And I think that's our culprit. And this one over here feels smooth. So we're going to change this lower bearing, and hopefully that's going to fix the noise. So there are two part numbers. There's an upper, which is a 36173. That's it there. And then the lower one, 36174, according to the parts information. This is the lower one. Comes with the bolt. It appears that this one is just a conventional 6203 bearing. Let's see if we can see the number on it. Focus. Yeah, 6203. And it has a sleeve pressed into it, or it comes with a little insert sleeve. So you could actually just change the bearing in here. I keep those bearings in stock typically just for that purpose, because they fit 75% of the vehicles on the planet. But in this case here, we're going to change the whole pulley. I think I'm going to change the upper one too, because it is a bit rough as well. So I replaced the lower pulley. I checked the alternator bearing and it's smooth. I replaced the upper pulley. Now I'm removing the pulley for the tensioner. I'm going to see if I can just change the bearing in it, because I do have one. It's left-hand thread on that bolt, so note that you have to pretend you're tightening it in order to remove it. So there's the tensioner bearing, and as you can see, if I can get this to focus, it's a 6203 bearing, I think. Well, it sure looks like it. So I stand corrected. It's a 6017 bearing. It has the same outside diameter, and inside diameter is a 6203, but it's a couple millimeters wider, as you can see. So I'm not sure if I want to put this one in. I'm sure it would work, and this is what virtually everybody uses. But I think this bearing feels smooth. I was just going to change it to be proactive because I was here, but I'll put it back in. So there's the belt back on and the two pulleys back on and the tensioner bearing.
This bearing feels nice and smooth, and I don't have another one. The parts only had one upper and one lower. So there's actually two upper bearings. And I probably think this tensioner wheel is serviced with the tensioner assembly, but I think I would try and change the bearing if I could get it. I'm going to have an assistant start the engine. We'll listen to it now. Go ahead.